Hey, this is Manny Moonraker, and I am coming to you live. It was not announced, no, so don't shoot the messenger. Just listen to the podcast because this is number 113 and it's live. But before we get to that stuff, how's about the intro? Hey, that's right. This is Manny Moonraker here, and I'm here for episode of the UFO News Report number 113. And what we're going to talk about, you've already seen it somewhere. If you follow any kind of posting anywhere, as a matter of fact, I think that the one and only Ronnie Dawson posted this particular article inside of UBR Truth Seekers, as well as his own webpage, the Ronnie Dawson Experience. And if you haven't, join this page. I mean, Ronnie Dawson, let me tell you, if there's anyone that really has a good time when it comes to ufology and UFOs, it's Ronnie Dawson. I mean, he outclasses me in that regard every single time. Hands down, Ronnie Dawson is involved in ufology. He's got his own story, but he's not afraid to explore everyone else's story. And basically, that's what we need in ufology. We need someone that's going to get out there, get it done, and basically get the word out, but also take in some information and try to figure out what's going on. What's the real story here? Now, the reason why this episode is live, because, I've been tooling with the idea of going back to doing live episodes, but moreover, I've been tooling around with the idea of doing live episodes while I'm on the road. This summer was really busy, so there was a lot of weeks which I didn't produce an episode. I really felt bad. And some of you may not believe me, but really, it stays in my mind constantly, the fact that I, skip a week or whatever because I'm out on the beach somewhere enjoying myself with some margaritas and Mrs. Moonraker. But hey, listen, let's not go there, because I know a lot of you are high rollers and you go to vacation in Dubai and things like that and look for UFOs in South Africa. But I digress, because at the moment, we have a couple of things to talk about. But if you have not nominated UFO Buster Radio for the 2018 Podcast Awards, shame on you. That's all I have to say is shame on you. All of you that have, thank goodness you're there, because maybe we'll get some recognition. Because we are not about being rubber dickers. We are about the topic of ufology. We're about exploring this unknown, undefined, and completely crazy topic that has been pretty much plaguing humanity for centuries. I mean, we're talking about cave drawings. I mean, we go that far on this topic and we still have zero answers because no fucks were ever given to the people. But that's why you're here. Now, the only thing that's going to happen in this live show is that there is not going to be the opportunity to call in. So whenever you see a live show come up because, you've subscribed in some way or another to the podcast, whenever the live show notification comes up, there's only one place you can listen to live, and that's on Spreaker. The good thing about that is if you go to Spreaker, there is a chat box. You can actually send questions. The other thing you can do is if you follow the podcast on social media, you can send me a direct message while the podcast is going on. That could be through Twitter at UFO Buster Radio. That could be through Instagram at Manny Moonraker, and even through Facebook, the pages UFO Buster Radio and Manny Moonraker. Either way, you can get your question out if you do it. But if you feel like you want to download another app into your phone, if you don't already have Spreaker, go to Spreaker.com or go to Google or the Apple Store, download the app for the Spreaker, and you'll be able to do the live chat on there. There's a little chat box. It's kind of a little group chat thing that comes up. Pretty nifty, pretty simple, but you'll be able to interact during the live shows. Now, there were a lot of people I was talking to get some interviews done during the summer, and then things got derailed as far as that's concerned. I'm going to reach out to those people and get back in touch with them because I'm sure they still want to come on, because I I really want to still hear their story, right? And I'm sure you do too. So we've got several different walks of life, and even an author that has a book that wants to come on and talk about their perspective on the topic of ufology. And I think, like I say all the time, it is extremely important that if you're following ufology, you don't just get stuck on the usual, Roswell, kick. We got to get away from those legacy incidents, though I must admit that researching them can be quite fascinating, and the fact that we can use them to compare them to current contemporary issues in ufology and sightings and so forth, it's really important. And that's why I decided to do the mini documentaries, which at the end of this episode, we're going to talk about where that's going to happen, or how that's going to go down in August, should I say, because, I got to get another documentary out there. I'm a bit more seasoned, I guess, kind of like a well-oiled, rusty machine. But we'll talk about that at the end of this episode. I got something for you guys to do, because this is a podcast by the blue-collar worker for the blue-collar worker. And that's why I always solicit your input, and it's going to happen one more time at the end of this episode. But before I get sidetracked, hey, like I said, 2018 Podcast Awards, the link is in the description. Please go in there, nominate UFO Buster Radio, and see what we can do. We got to make some waves. We have got to piss people off, and that's what we do. This is the reason why we're going to jump into the next topic about pissing people off. If you've been with UFO Buster Radio from the beginning, or you've been playing catch up, because a lot of people do that. They'll listen to a few shows and they'll be like, they had a V8 moment, and they'll just go back. They'll go back and listen to the old shows. They'll pick up on some of the interviews. One particular interview we had, should I say interviewee, was Gary Parker. Now, I'm not going to recap what Gary Parker was talking about. That's not my place. But you can go to episode 102 and listen to Gary for yourself. What happened recently is that because I did the mini documentary, people are starting to pick up on YouTube. So we're getting more followers and people are going back. And unfortunately, episode 102 appeared to be a hot one. And unfortunately for Gary Parker, a lot of people did not leave really nice comments on there. And the thing is this. If you try to, tell people of a certain religion that maybe it is possible that the Christ that's coming is not really the Christ that's coming, or maybe he is, but he's going to be joined by E.T., and maybe the Christ is not the guy with all the power. Some people, they take that kind of like a slap in the face, a kick in the nuts, things like that. You're messing around with their beliefs. And they take it really hard. And so Gary Parker had this message, and, he gave it to us, and we listened. And Gary Parker, they're still listening. But apparently he actually caught on to some of the messages that were placed into the video, and he wasn't happy about it. So he called out a few people. He kind of trolled them and told them if they were, too damn lazy or dumb to get off their asses, that they should check out, this video or whatever, and he put a link in there. And I approved that link because, sometimes YouTube will mark that as spam, but you know what? I approved it. I mean, hey, you got to put up or shut up. And if he feels that he was besmirched in any kind of way, then, let him put his video there. The video turned out to be a link to another interview he did on YouTube with someone else. Hey, no fucks are given. I really don't care. The thing is that if you're putting together a presentation and you're going to take the attitude that people that have a differing opinion, especially when it has to do with religion, if you're going to get all upset, then maybe you shouldn't be talking in these circles. Because let me tell you, I could not even count how many times I've received negative messages. I've received all kind of names being called just because I said something that people didn't agree with. Heck, you can even look on YouTube on some of the videos of the podcast, and you'll see me going back and forth with people because they were pissed off at something I said or had a disagreement, but they didn't handle it in a right way. They want to, fuck this, fuck that, you shithead, and all that kind of stuff. But I don't care. I'll engage you in a conversation just for a little bit, just to get my point across. And whether or not you want to listen to it, that's your damn problem, not mine. And Gary Parker, that's the way you should take it. And really, my invitation really is for Gary Parker. I really want Gary Parker to come back and talk about not only that little incident, because I'm sure he's getting a whole lot more, because you don't get that pissed off of one person saying something negative. And really talk to him, give us a recap, because he did have some more information that he shared in that video. Give us a recap about, what you're talking about. But at the same time, let's address this. Let's address the fact that you really shouldn't be going on anybody's podcast or place where their listeners or their viewers post their comments and go in there and go, balls to the wall, trying to, just be angry and show out. It doesn't work that way. You basically, if you can't convince someone of your perspective, then fuck it, just let it go. Move on. For every one person that thinks you're a shithead, there's probably 3 or 4 people who believe what you're saying. Focus on those guys. But don't go onto the UFO Buster Radio social media and different platforms and start, having arguments with people just because they don't believe a damn thing you say. But Gary Parker, if you want to come back, the door is open. Let's get to chatting about that situation and see what's really going down, what's going down in your head, and what makes you mad.
Hey guys, this is Marty Angler from Angling Waters Outdoors, and you're listening to my pally, Manny Moonraker, right here on UFO Busted Radio Network. Hey Manny, you know why I fish at night? Can you say UFO? UFO! That's right.
By the way, if you haven't done so and you are into fishing, you got to check out Angling Waters. Marty, you've heard him on the podcast. You've heard his voices, actually. And I'll play the next little audio that I'll play. You'll hear Marty. But he's got a great show. He's up there with the Dave in the Morning Show. And he's on WHIW in the Chicago area, or Harvard, Illinois. And he's got a show once a week, I believe it's Saturdays. It is Angling Waters, all about fishing. If you're an avid fisherman, you want to listen to Marty, and you know what, you could probably even call in, I'm sure, talk to him live and share your experiences, the one that got away time and time again, or share some pro tips if you have any. So now that we're done with Gary Parker, let's move on to my favorite reptilian in all the world, and that is Stephen Greer. Now, this is not exactly directly concerning Stephen Greer, but apparently the people that see this article seem to think that Stephen Greer was correct in his assumptions in that documentary he did when he talked about the Atacama Mummy, the little baby, the fetus, the 5-year-old, 6-year-old. I mean, the kid's freaking age just runs all over the place. I mean, it's everywhere. He's a little thing, maybe like 6 inches, 6-7 inches. But nobody cares about that anymore. That documentary was a series. That thing came and left. We had the last one where he was crying on it. That beat any mummy that's about 500 years old any day of the week. If you see Stephen Greer cry, those gator tears, I'm telling you, that is definitely, and I say gator because I'm from Florida. I'm not going to say crocodile. Those gator tears, that's a winner to me. That's an Emmy winner. But anyway, here's what the article is really about. And basically, it's titled, and there's a lot of titles, and some of these titles are 4.2 far. Experts say recent alien mummy study was deeply flawed and unethical. At the center of this thing is the Atacama Mummy, which apparently somebody went behind the original study and said there was no reason for them to pull or to test for DNA. And here's the thing. At the time, when Mr. Greer was trying to prove that this was ET or not, because he's kind of like those memes, where he's like, I don't think it's aliens, but then you look at him, his little gleam in his eye, and he's got that lizard smile, and he's like, but it was. You can see it. It's written all over him that it's aliens. I mean, why even start with the premise that you think it's not aliens? Greer, we know what you're thinking. We're not dumb. We're not stupid. We're not emergency room doctors. But we know. We know deep down inside you think that everything that comes across your table is an ET ready to probe somebody. So anyway, that little mummy, which was affectionately named Ata, was discovered about 15 years ago in a part of the Atacama Desert in Chile, Chilean area of the world. So what was happening is that these experts came in and looked at it and say, you guys are a bunch of idiots. I mean, you could tell that you guys didn't know what the hell you were looking at. The reason why they're saying this, and here's a quote that's in the article, we are experts in developmental human anatomy and archaeology. And you can almost drop the mic there, because they're saying you rubber dickers had no idea what you were doing. And the mummy looks normal for a fetus around 15 to 16 weeks of gestation. What they're saying, which was not really the conclusion before, because they said it's like a tiny 5 or 6 year old kid. What they're saying is this was a fetus, that there was absolutely no reason at all to go in there and take samples of this little mummy, because you're basically ruining what was pretty much almost well preserved, except for all these crazy looking formations that made it look like an alien from 4.2 far outer space. At which you can't. I know. Can you blame anyone for being so excited? I mean, you've got Greer over your shoulder telling you need to test this, you need to test this. We need a conclusion. And I remember at the end of that video, that documentary series, it was inconclusive, right? They really couldn't narrow this down. And maybe it's because of what these guys are saying, that you really didn't need to pull any DNA on this little thing, because it's easy to see. It's just like that. I mean, I just don't know. It makes you just ramble sometimes, this whole ufology thing. And you say things you don't want to say, like that just happened just now. You just get stuck. The brain matter, the gray cells, they just don't work. It just all stops. But the problem with that is that people are looking at this, they're reading the titles of some of these articles, and some of the article titles pretty much do mention Greer in the title. And people are not reading this. Not at all. They're actually posting responses saying, you see, Greer was right. This was an ET. No, you guys just aren't reading the entire article. You're just making assumptions based on who knows what, because it's not what's in the article. What they're saying was that test was unethical. We didn't need DNA, and they should have just looked at the body of evidence in front of them and said, this is what it is. But what's happening is not only did those guys over there, they initially got a test done for this thing, they went 4.2 far, but the people who are reading the article now are going 4.2 far. And I'm sure that this is going to create some, traffic for Greer's people, because people are going to want to know some more. And the reason why I bring this article, which is linked in the description for you guys to look at, is you got to go past the clickbaiting. That really is what's here. This is all clickbaiting for those outlets that specialize in, putting out weird stories, UFO stories, alien stories, abduction stories, paranormal stories. Those outlets are the ones that are flipping the title of this and clickbaiting it, and people are going in, they see a picture of little Ata and decide that, hey, Greer was right. Reading is fundamental. You guys got to read the full story before you come to the conclusion that the reptilian man actually had a baby alien in his midst. But I leave it up to you guys. You guys got to decide. I mean, somebody go out there and read the full article and see that they're not in any way claiming that this was a alien hybrid baby or whatever the hell else people are saying. That they're just talking about that the steps that were taken to examine the little fetus were incorrect and did not need to go so far. And yeah, that's really what it's all about.
Excuse me. I'm looking for Manny Moonraker. I understand you're looking for either a flying disc, cigar class shit. Now, are you looking new or used? I have both. I also have the long cigar or stogie shade, with and without air conditioning. In the sleep chambers, sleep 6 to 18, depending on the body size of your friends. I also have a medical disc and a starship, depending on your credit range. Call me, Sepsis Work, on your interstellar stellar, 111-419-771-2119-62387. I'll be waiting.
By the way, Sepsis Quirk was Marty Angler from the Angling Water Show. A talented guy. I'm telling you, you guys should check out that show because you might need some fishing tips. It's really hot out there, and fishing is good because if you don't catch anything, just jump in the water and cool yourself out. Now, there's some other links in the description to little reminders to give everyone. Number one, the UBR mini documentary for Leveland, Texas. That's in there. Click on it, subscribe, hit on the little bell for the notifications on YouTube. Listen, support the podcast. That's one of the best ways to do it. Share it. Let people know. I made a fool of myself, but I have a feeling it's going to be worse as these mini documentaries progress. I guarantee you, it's going to be crazy. The other thing is, in the last episode, I put forth a link regarding the extraterrestrial disclosure petition. And it's basically an online petition where you sign up. And a lot of people after that episode were actually pinging me, sending me direct messages saying that they went on there and signed the petition. So I went to the author of the petition. I said, hey, let me know if you're getting some traction. And there was plenty of traction. So a lot of you went in there and signed the petition. Yes, it's disclosure. Yes, we don't give no fucks about disclosure because it's not going to get us anywhere. The whole idea is that just to get that group effort together and show people that it's not all about Star Trek and Star Wars. We are actually looking for real information that we're not getting. So, taking a few clicks, clicking here, clicking there, just a few times, and signing this petition, which is a lot easier than petitions used to be way back when, is a way to show support for getting disclosure, which we know is BS. It's a catchphrase. But it shows that there is a body of people out there in the public that have interest in it and are willing to at least click a couple times to put their name and say, we need this. So that's important. So if you have some time, right after this episode, click on the link and go ahead and sign the petition and let people know we are looking for disclosure. And you know what? To read the petition too, take a look at it. Because it's not your normal disclosure petition. Like I said before, we are talking about extraterrestrial beings being planet-side, not just out there in the middle of the galaxy. Lastly, before we sign off, because that article took a lot out of me and I'm ready to go and cool down somewhere. Not on the beach. That's kind of over right now. But the last thing that I want to say is that in August, the second documentary will come out. And I call these mini documentaries. I'm not doing hour-long documentaries. I don't have the staff or the equipment to do that. So these are very small documentaries. However, 2 weeks ago, I was driving along one of the Texas roads, the many Texas roads, and I happened to look up to a sign, and the sign said 18 miles to Stephenville, Texas. Now, you all know about Stephenville, Texas, what happened there, the incident. And I said, wow, I should just get those 18 miles done, head down there, and start shooting some stuff. Maybe I'll find people that remember the incident. But then I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not just going to jump into that. I found where Stephenville is. I'm good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put out a survey, which will be out there probably this weekend. And I'm going to let you, the listener, let me know which is the next UBR mini documentary for the state of Texas as far as UFOs. Now, is it going to be Cash Landrum? Can it be Aurora? Could it be the Lubbock Lights? Will it be Stephenville? There's going to be a survey out. If you want to have a hand in picking which one is going to be next, then I suggest you get onto that social media, look for that survey, and put in your vote. I'll tally those up in our next episode. I'll announce which one of these is going to be the one that we're going to talk about. The one that's going to be in the mini doc. So keep an eye out for it. Follow, subscribe, share, do whatever you need to do to get the word out that this next mini doc is going to be crazy. It's going to be on point, and I have a feeling we are going to be wherever the incident occurred. I mean, what else? What else? What do I have to lose, right? I mean, gee Louise. A little probing never hurt anybody. So this is the episode. This is the end. Next time we'll announce it at least an hour in advance. That way folks can jump in the chat box whenever it goes live again. But I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for listening. And keep your eyes to the skies and keep the probes out of you know where. Ciao.